Net.
Get him, Banks.
They can't hold me. Lloyd Banks, the one and only. Not your buddy, not your pal, not your homie. It ain't a government around that can control me. Oh no, oh no.
What up guys, your boy Ali, and welcome to Hip Hop Forever. Now I've been a Lloyd Banks fan for a long time. I can't remember the name of the first song of his I heard, but I think it was on one of those G-Unit mixtapes. And I remember thinking, man, this dude, he has something special. Now when The Hunger for More dropped, I was glad that Lloyd Banks was finally getting his shine, and it's one of those rare albums that I can play from beginning to end without skipping a track. My favorite track on the album has to be Southside Story. The track is laced with bars, and if you close your eyes and actually picture what Lloyd Banks is saying, it almost feels like you're watching a movie in your mind. To me, a great rapper has to be able to tell stories. Rappers that are just putting words together are decent, and in fact, they make a lot of hits. I'm not hating on them at all. All I'm saying is that the ability to tell a story separates the great rappers from the ordinary ones. Now, Lloyd Banks has been on the scene for a couple of years. Beg for Mercy came out in the early 2000s. Since then, he has dropped a lot of mixtapes, a couple of albums, he has done a lot of features, and his legacy in the game is cemented. However, why didn't Lloyd Banks blow up on the same level as a Kanye, a Jay-Z, a 50 Cent, or a Young Jeezy? Now, one thing about 50 Cent is that he loves being the center of attention. Every time a G-Unit album dropped, he would hop on his artist's first singles, and because 50 was bigger at the time, it would take the attention away from the other artists. For instance, when Lloyd Banks dropped On Fire, 50 Cent appeared on the chorus. When Tony Yayo dropped So Seductive, 50 was there as well. When Young Buck dropped Let Me In, 50 was there as well. So some people feel that 50's presence on these songs made it seem like the group couldn't make hot singles on their own. Now, in my opinion, 50 hopped on these songs because he wanted to give his artist the most exposure possible. 50 was loyal to his team. Instead of dropping a second album right away, he dropped Beg for Mercy because he wanted to give his group more shine. And his loyalty to the team paid off in a big way. Every member of the original G-Unit got their moment to shine. However, after a while, it became apparent to the rest of the world that they were always going to remain in 50's shadow. The game left G-Unit because he didn't want to be in 50's shadow anymore. He didn't want to be a G-Unit soldier. And as a result, he decided to carve a lane for himself. The game's personality couldn't allow himself to be a G-Unit soldier forever. And in my opinion, personality is one thing Lloyd Banks lacks. Now, maybe I'm not one to talk because I am the monotone guy on YouTube, but I think I do have a point here. Now, I've watched a lot of G-Unit interviews in my lifetime, and every single time I see Lloyd Banks in one of these things, it looks like he doesn't want to be there. Most of the time, 50 is doing the talking, Buck and Yayo chime in here and there, but it always appears like Banks doesn't have anything to say.
Yeah, we gotta keep that. That's crazy. Like, yeah, like this. And what since then, like he ain't the curse out. You know, so production-wise, some of the decisions that I made on the project, I was going within Aim, making the decision. It was like, all right, let's do it.
Now, being a Banks fan, I know that he's a very private dude. He's the type of guy that likes to drop music here and there and disappear off the face of the earth until it's time to drop another mixtape, single, or album.
I'm in my zone, bitch. Leave me alone, bitch. All I swing is dick. Don't call me when you need a loan, bitch.
Not every artist is meant to be in the spotlight all the time. Some artists are very reclusive, and Lloyd Banks is one of them. Now let's compare Lloyd Banks to Eminem for a second. Eminem is also a recluse. Lately, Eminem appears to be doing more press, but there was a time when Eminem was always in the house. Now, despite being a recluse, Eminem always had personality. He was always joking around, he always put his life into his raps, and despite being a white rapper in a black-dominated genre of music, Eminem wasn't afraid to let the world know who he is. And that's something that Lloyd Banks is not doing. Who is Lloyd Banks? Now, like I said, I've watched a lot of his interviews, I've listened to all of his albums, and the majority of his mixtapes, and to this day I cannot tell you who Lloyd Banks is. I feel like if Lloyd Banks got to express himself more, if he did more interviews, and if he actually let his personality out, instead of being so guarded all the time, he probably would have blown up in a different way. Now, I'm not hating on the guy. Like I said earlier, I know that not every artist wants to be in the public eye.
Kanye, what's going on, man? What was up with all that stuff? Do you want to just squash all that? Because you're a cool guy. No, come on, Kanye, be cool, man.
all the time. A lot of them value their privacy, and we as the fans have to respect that. However, there is such a thing as being too private, especially if you're an artist that wants to be in everybody's top 5. Now let's compare Banks to another reclusive artist. I'm thinking J. Cole. Everybody knows that J. Cole is the type of artist that dips away from the spotlight for a while until it's time to drop a new album. When J. Cole starts being more active, especially publicly, that usually means that he's got an album or a single to promote. Now, despite disappearing from time to time, J. Cole still remains relevant, and that's partly because when he does appear again, he lets his personality shine. People are invested in J. Cole's life. They want to know more about his private life, who he's dating, is he cheating, how's the marriage going?
So you like meditation has like become a thing, like a regular part of your life? Like you.
I think people think that, like, because I've had somebody talk to me, they're like, oh, man, they think that, like, I'm a big...
Right. Like, you meditated before this interview.
Yeah, I actually did.
Did you really?
I did.
I say this to say, I personally don't think that anybody is invested in Lloyd Banks' personal life because he chooses to keep a lot of it private. He's a great rapper, he's got a lot of good bars, and he is a platinum-selling artist. Whenever he drops a mixtape, I'm pretty sure I'm one of the first people to check it out. But as a fan, I wish he spent more time promoting himself, doing more interviews, and most importantly, letting the world know who he is as a person. That's it for me, man. It's your boy Ali. Do you think Banks could have done more to promote his career? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, if you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Peace.